BBS. BBS. Blackberg Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies.
Television!
Fred Sanford of the Fistic Arts. When all is said and done, there's nothing left to say or do.
REED-BBS. BBS. It's not like Teofimo effing Lopez looked bad. He just didn't look good. And that was the whole point of this fight, this night, this particular opponent. That was the whole point. TopRank, they did their part on the heels of the less than stellar performance against Jermaine Ortiz. FIMO needed to avoid slick, defensive-minded fighters for a minute. Enter Steve Claggett. Supposedly a get-right fight for FIMO. Now, you shouldn't judge a man off a loss or two, but you'd be a motherfucking fool not to judge his ass off of 6 or 7 or 8 losses, which is now the case with Steve Claggett. FIMO tried to label him after the fact as a 47-pounder coming down to 40. Yeah, he's had some fights above 140. Not sure he's a 47-pounder per se, but whatever. Only stopped once in nearly 50 fights, and that stoppage was fairly early in his career. But again, TopRank did their part. They kept replaying the Mason Menard footage, the Diego Magdaleno KO, all these good highlights of FIMO's, Richard Comey, and who could forget those fights, you know? And who could forget the first 6 or 7 rounds of FIMO versus Loma, or the entirety of the Josh Taylor fight, right? TopRank trying to remind us, trying to put that in our heads. And now we got a guy that's not a cutie, that's not a slickster. He's going to bring the fight. All the signs were there. The stage was set. We also can't forget, though, the last 5-6 rounds of the Loma fight, or the entirety of the George Kambosos fight, the Sander Martin fight, and the one that just won't go away, Jermaine Ortiz. FIMO in his corner, they were torched for not cutting the ring off effectively versus Ortiz, and deservedly so, which was the good news about Claggett, that it would never be an issue having to cut the ring off Claggett. And he showed improved in that regard because Claggett kept bringing the fight all fight. Claggett crowded FIMO, and what we do know is the power and the snap, the oomph on FIMO's punches. It seems to be on the end of his shots. And with that said, Claggett smothered the shit out of him all fight. Claggett ate a whole lot of leather, but he smothered FIMO. And being in very close proximity to one another for the majority of the fight, both men got touched up. Now, FIMO, he had personal punch stat records for himself, I think, in punches landed and thrown. But that just takes me back to the power. So you've thrown and landed more punches than in any other fight, yet you didn't even drop this guy. Never mind stop him. So with that said, please miss me with all this Terrence Crawford talk, please. On one hand, yeah, it's also appear and abundantly clear, that FIMO fights to the level of his opposition, which will lead you to believe, against Bud, it'll be more of a Loma or a Josh Taylor performance. But there's less than zero incentive for Bud to face FIMO. FIMO is not a draw. He's a Latin New Yorker that doesn't sell in New York. Let me say that again. He's a Latin New Yorker that doesn't sell in New York. And that says a lot. And skillfully, Bud is over here. People talk about tools in the toolbox. Okay, well, Bud Crawford got a motherfucking tool shed. He's got a tool shed. Whereas FIMO, by comparison, got some Fisher-Price-ass toolbox with just a hammer and a motherfucking wrench in it. There's no comparison between these two skillfully. There just isn't. I see nothing there in the fight. And to me, it just speaks to FIMO's mental health challenges that he continues to mention Bud. Stop mentioning Bud. The fight to make for FIMO right now is Pitbull Cruz. That's the fight. 140, unification. Pitbull's about to beat the brakes off Rayo on a Bud undercard. Make that fight. That's a natural fight. FIMO would have to take the ass in because PITBULL has a following now. After that Rolly win, yeah, PITBULL is higher up the food chain than FIMO is, even though he's not the fighter FIMO is, just in terms of selling and marketability and people coming out to watch you fight. It's about PITBULL over FIMO right now. That's the fight FIMO needs to take. If he's insistent on 47, and he mentioned the weight cut to 40 being tough for him, there's Brian Norman at 47, who recently acquired one of the vacated belts that they took from Bud after the Spence win. And Norman has top-ranked ties as well. That's an easy fight to make. FIMO also mentioned staying active, which is a very good thing. But it's disturbing to me, man, that he's now 5-1, which is a good thing. He's 5-1 in title fights. But the disturbing thing is he has one motherfucking KO. One KO. 6 title fights, 1 KO. And you're talking about moving up in weight? I don't know, bruh. I don't know. But you tell me, man, what do you think of FIMO? Where does he go from here? Have we seen the best of Teofimo effing Lopez? Subscribe, comment. Remember, sharing is caring. Love tap and/or bitch slap that like button for your boy. Shout out to the brothers of boxing. Shout out to the Louisville boxing team, LBT, Loyalty Boxing Fitness, and the homies at FightBeat.com. Can you step to this? REED-BBS, BBS. Blackbird Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies. Television! Fred Sanford of the Fistic Arts. When all is said and done, there's nothing left to say or do.